Today I'm going to show you 5 easy ways to elevate your makeup. If you're new here, hi, I'm Gabi. I've been a professional makeup artist for 20 years, and the number one question I get is, what product did you use for that? That question always makes me pause because great makeup is composed of about 30% the products used and 70% the technique used with them. So today I'm going to show you exactly what to do to get your makeup looking like it was done professionally. Up close and in 4K. Let's begin. Step 1 is to make the skin look beautiful before even applying makeup. If the skin already looks smooth, calm, and even, everything you apply on top instantly just looks better. So let's begin by addressing the word smooth and start by shaving the face. Yes. Shaving the face. I often have clients come into the studio with tons of peach fuzz, especially after the age of 40 with hormone changes. And no matter what I use or how I use it, I am never able to get their base perfectly smooth because of that. So I highly recommend that you try dermaplaning. Dermaplaning removes peach fuzz and built up dead skin cells, which then allows the makeup to sit flatter and just blend more easily. It allows it to reflect more light and just look a lot softer and nicer overall. This isn't something you should do every day or even every week. For most people, once every 2 to 4 weeks is enough. If you have sensitive skin, even once a month can make a noticeable difference in how your makeup looks. Next, I focus on calming and depuffing the skin. An ice shade roller helps reduce swelling, especially under the eyes, and it also gently tightens the skin so everything looks more awake and more refreshed. It's a subtle difference, but it does, in my opinion, instantly elevate the base. Before moisturizer, I like to press in a milky toner, really focusing it under the eyes. This adds hydration and plumpness so concealer doesn't cling or crease or even just settle later on in the day. It's also a great product for this area specifically because it hydrates well, but isn't so heavy that it breaks the concealer down over time. Then comes moisturizer followed by sunscreen. Sunscreen is non-negotiable. If the skin isn't protected, it will speak that truth over time, no matter how good the products you use on top are. One of my biggest secrets is to use a tinted sunscreen. It already does a lot of the color correcting work for you, and because of that, redness will look calmer, the complexion will look more even, and suddenly you need far less foundation. If you have very visible pores, a targeted pore filling primer like Benefit's Professional can be helpful in those specific areas, but for most people, primers are just really well marketed skincare. When the skin is already properly prepped like we did today, they're often unnecessary and can be a bit of a waste of money in my opinion. Now let's talk about ways to elevate your foundation application. Instead of applying your foundation directly from the tube to your skin, always apply it to the back of your hand or to a mixing palette first. When the bristles of your brush are evenly coated, foundation goes on evenly instead of all at once in a blob, and that really prevents heaviness. I start the application in the center of the face and then I work outwards. The center is where the redness and discoloration live, so that's where you need the most pigment. Keeping the perimeter of the face lighter keeps the skin looking a lot more natural. You don't need foundation everywhere. Leaving certain areas sheer like the temples, the hairline, and the jawline makes the skin look more real and much more elevated too. Once the foundation is on, I switch tools. I take a beauty blender now. I run it under water, open and close it until it's fully expanded and soft. Then I gently press the foundation into the skin. This stippling motion works a lot like an airbrush. It smooths the surface out, it melts the products into the skin, and it also lifts away any excess pigment in areas where you may have applied too much. If you notice foundation settling into fine lines, don't reach for powder yet. Before setting anything, use a clean Q-tip to remove excess product from the creases. This step alone makes a huge difference in how smooth the makeup wears long term. Now, if you love cream bronzer and soft contour as much as I do, you're gonna want to apply it now, but this step is optional and it's not essential for everyone. Before moving on to the next step, always check foundation in motion. Turn your head, make an expression, let the skin move. Elevated foundation shouldn't look perfect when you are standing still. It should look beautiful when you're alive in it. If this video is giving you any aha moments, consider subscribing. It really helps support what I create here, and I do genuinely appreciate it. Now let's move into blush. Blush placement matters more than most people realize, and whether you're using a cream or a powder changes when it should be applied. If you are using a powder blush, it should typically go on after the face is set, even if that's just a very light dusting of powder. But if you're using a cream blush, it belongs before powder. Today I am using a a cream. Just like foundation, I start by evenly distributing the product through the bristles of the brush. This prevents heavy patches of pigment and gives you a softer, more controlled application. I press the blush into the cheek rather than sweeping it. Pressing motions work best with cream products and creates a more seamless finish. Whatever is left over on the brush, I bring gently into the under eye area. I've seen a lot of comments lately saying that I use too many steps under the eyes when concealing dark circles and it's too time consuming for you. I respect that completely, so I'm going to show you one of my professional shortcuts. By bringing blush up into the under eye area, you're actually doing a subtle form of color correction. I'm using a peach tone blush today because peach neutralizes blue tones under the eyes on medium skin. If you have fair skin, you're actually going to want to choose a blush that leans a little bit more pink. And if you have deep skin, you're going to want to choose a blush with a little bit more orange in it for the best correction. Next, I add just a small amount of concealer. One dab near the inner hollow by the nose and one at the outer corner. And then I gently stipple it out to blend. At this point, you've corrected darkness, added lift, and placed your blush all in one pass. If you then feel like the transition between the blush and the concealer still needs softening, you can then tap a little more blush on top to blend everything together. And just like that, your blush and your under eye concealer are done quickly, seamlessly, and with far fewer steps. Now let's move into powder because it's one of the most misunderstood steps in makeup. Powder isn't about drying out the face. It is about controlling movement. Not using powder at all can be just as problematic as using too much powder. Without powder, makeup doesn't last as long, it creases more easily, and pores can actually appear larger because nothing has been properly set. It's really important to understand the differences between setting powder and finishing powder too. Setting powder is designed to lock makeup in place. It reduces slip, minimizes creasing, and increases wear time. This is the powder you use strategically, not everywhere. I apply setting powder only where makeup tends to move: under the eyes, around the nose, in the nasolabial folds, and through the center of the face. If your skin is very dry, look for a setting powder with ingredients like hyaluronic acid in the formula. They help keep makeup from moving without over drying the skin. If your skin is very oily, those same powders with hyaluronic acid can actually make you look too shiny throughout the day, so it's best to actually avoid those. Choosing the right powder formula for your skin type makes a huge difference in the final result. I did an entire video about that a few months ago, and I'll link it up in the cards, but I'll also pin it in the pinned comment for you. When it comes to application, I always use a powder puff rather than a brush. Before it ever touches the face, I load the puff with powder and then press it firmly into the palm of my hand. This evenly distributes the product and removes excess, so the powder goes on in a controlled and even way, not in a heavy way. Finishing powder serves a completely different purpose. It isn't meant to set makeup, it's meant to perfect the surface. Finishing powders blur texture, they soften shine, and they refine the overall look of the skin. If I use one, it's always in the final step, and it's applied with a very light dusting only where I want a smooth texture or reduce excess shine. It's never layered heavily, and it's never pressed in like a setting powder. Over powdering can be one of the fastest ways to undo all the work you've done underneath, but not powdering is the easiest way to get creasing and get your makeup to fade throughout the day. Powder isn't meant to hide the skin. It's only meant to refine it and keep your makeup exactly where you put it. It's not the enemy, okay? It's a friend. You just have to do it properly. After all the prep, correction, and setting, the final step is all about bringing life back into the face. This is where setting spray becomes essential. I don't use setting spray just to make makeup last. I use it to melt everything together. It softens powder, removes that overly set look, and helps the makeup settle into the skin so it looks lived in again. Finding the right setting spray for your skin makes a big difference here. If your skin is dry, you're gonna want to look for a glowy or a hydrating formula. If your skin is oily, an oil control setting spray is gonna help keep shine in check throughout the day. And if you have a very long day ahead, then a firmer hold setting spray is gonna give you that extra longevity. The one that I personally reach for most days is actually the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. It makes the skin look incredibly beautiful. It isn't the most bulletproof formula. It's not like this one, but for everyday wear, it gives a very healthy, refined finish without looking too shiny. At this point, I step back and look at the face as a whole. If something needs adjustment, it's minimal. Maybe you need a hint of highlight where light naturally hits. Maybe you need a little more sculpting for dimension. But this is also the moment, with all of that said, to stop. And I need to say this just as much to myself as to you guys. Elevated makeup isn't about adding more and more. It's about knowing when the balance is right. I made this mistake a lot when I was a younger artist, and even just a couple of years ago on YouTube, I noticed it. Sometimes I still struggle with it, to be honest. I do, because I just love makeup so much, but more isn't always more. The skin should look comfortable, the makeup should move with the face, and nothing should look overworked or overdone. If it's too noticeable, it's not blended well enough, or you use too much. When you know when to stop, you look more beautiful without looking so heavily made up. And that's what truly elevates your makeup. If you'd like to see this same approach but applied to eye makeup, let me know in the comments. This video's over.